VIC, Day or ZOOS. Both of them a little mix of new players and then some old gen in the mix too. We have Kit Band out here on the right hand side. I know Orc is going to be very happy to see that. Kit is one of these brawlers that shows up more often in NA than in any other region. We are out in the open, so once again, you either want the brawler that can make use of the water on the left hand side, or you want to break open the map. Brock is double banned. Even Angelo both open, and Angelo is also going to be that first pick for ZOOS.
I think both teams are actually trying to leave Angelo open to potentially pick them up. Because if you're first pick and you're banning Brock, you must have had an even higher priority brawler in mind. And I think Angelo probably is the go-to still in many cases. I've seen big flops from Angelo, but in general, you've got to respect its capability. This also opens up the potential of a Nani answer, right? A brawler that we don't see much of on this map unless you're dealing with Angelo. But it's going to be Gus, the old faithful, picked up here.
Mind seeing an Eve here. I think Angelo would definitely struggle into those hatchlings. It's still open, so
that's crazy.
I mean, definitely could be up there for me. I think as well.
All the water walkers are open. That is wild.
Yeah, but the Gus doesn't necessarily spell a good synergy. I think they're looking for maybe something that's going to be able to drive themselves forwards a bit more here and have a bit more presence on the map.
Hatchlings are so good against Angelo.
Yep. Hell still could be an option to combine with this Gus, maybe have an even tankier shielding, but definitely not surprised to see the Eve come through here.
Hey, it is Swamp Central in this draft so far. You've got the Eve, of course, so you can traverse the map. She has the jump gadget. I think a hypercharge that is really problematic for those single-shot brawlers. Something that ZOOS esports need to keep mindful of.
On the right-hand side now, they already have a lot of range. What we haven't really seen so far in the NA region is that bow comp that was played so soft in the stage at EMEA. It's not going to happen once more. It's going to be Bell some more range even. If I'm that blue roster right now, I definitely want to pick up something aggressive. Kit is banned out, but there's still plenty of options against two snipers. It should be a pretty fair game here. Right-hand side has one more pick though. Probably something like a Pearl, maybe
this was SA, it'll be
something that is good in the long run. Both of those brawlers are going to be super, super good as long as the smoke does not come in yet. In the end game, they're usually not the best.
Okay, two sharpshooters, RT. Fair enough. That's been left open for quite some time. To see that come in here to round out the comp, it's very solid. We've got all three brawlers virtually operate as sharpshooters. There's good defensive options here for all of them. Nest eggs, of course, Angelo's ability to jump away in a pinch, and RT dropping legs and having a very powerful hypercharge. So they got range, they got defensive capability. They don't necessarily have the playmaking potential. There's no catch potential. There's no like Gene-esque brawlers in the mix here. Notice the healing is limited, and here is Nani. When you see multiple sharpshooters, Nani is always a go-to. And all of those brawlers, to some degree, have to respect return to sender.
Kind of feel like they may have been looking for the Ollie, but then the Bell showed her face, and that may have then diverted things slightly. But I quite like both comps here, honestly. I think they're pretty solid. I feel like the RT, though, the hypercharge is definitely going to be one of those devastating moments towards the end. If they can get that value in early on, tap away, then it's impossible to dodge. It's basically just a GG at that point. So really looking to see how that RT fares.
All right, in we go, folks. Time to get the series between Vic Day and ZOOS esports kicked off. Vic Day in blue at the bottom of your screen now are the ones on the E comp, and of course, second best gets himself across that body of water to set up on the left side.
Good dupes already from second, getting himself warmed up and trying to close that gap. Meanwhile, OG getting some serious aggression on that right-hand side. Already two marked players on the side of Vic Day, and ZOOS esports continue to land these shots. Yeah, OG has to force out the return to sender, but not really in a well-timed manner. Wasn't really going to have much value for the back of it in the way that he did.
Yeah. See OG make some shots here. Does have, theoretically has the same range as Angelo, but the effective range, the sweet spot for this Nani is a little bit closer range than it is for the Angelo. Here's the pick. And we're looking for Ducky. Good damage, but is that enough for Vegeta to work with? He doesn't seem to think so. So we're going to have both teams very much stay within their lanes at the start of this round. The gas is already starting to come through, though. Second best, tapped up a little bit by this Bell, and there goes OG, Tyrant Star. Writes a new chapter in a rivalry that spent years in Brawlstars with that elimination, and the rest of Vic Day look like they are going to flounder.
Yeah, nowhere to go realistically there for Vegeta to accept the gas. As a solid first round for ZOOS esports. Plenty of time, though, to turn things around, but yeah, want to see a bit more from OG. That Peep was a good break, though. Has left the wall intact and got rid of some of the bush, so we're going to be able to see that crossover now.
Yeah, that's what OG wants. He wants to give Ducky less places to hide, but also not allow ZOOS to get back into the map easily. So he's managed to split the difference quite nicely there. However, we need him to be firing at animate objects, not the scenery. So need OG to now start to work this diagonal. Tyrant is back into the map, of course. He's in and out effortlessly. Oh, big return to sender here. Hit for OG wouldn't go astray. Second best is forced back here as Zemp is starting to tap.
I love that reverse polarity from Zemp as well. Gave him some good positioning. Second now, got the shield gear coming in. Shield as well for Vegeta, that spooky boy, so I'm looking to see that pay off. But quite the connection that Zemp was looking for there. Second now has the hatchlings as well, which are going to go down. Pretty good time that the gas is coming in, but just eradicated them as well. That's really not great for Big Day.
Okay, second best going for it here. Put some pressure down and was waiting to see that first protester. Yeah. He realized his goose was absolutely cooked. 2v2 here. OG can afford to take some damage here from the gas and stays outside of the range of the RT Sim to peep in to get the job done. That's pretty clutch work from Monk.
Very close. Really was. That could have easily been a game going the way of ZOOS Esports. OG already got the hypercharge as well. That's going to be a godsend, but Vegeta would love to have as well a super to hand, especially in these moments here when the survivability is so crucial. Nice gadget, but just a bit of a miss there from Zemp. Be on the cooldown for another one. He's been landing them quite consistently into that moment in time as well.
Oh, Mark doesn't actually connect onto Vegeta. OG now makes his way back into the map. Hypercharge, ready with the next super. You've got to respect this Angelo damage. Tyrants are looking for a target. OG's almost opting out of this protracted engagement that he's been in with the Angelo. Still looking for some turn to sender plays. Eats that hit from the Angelo now. Next shot would do him in. So he has to back away, get healed up in time. And Big Day don't really seem like they know when to go. I think they're hoping that they're going to chain some damage together. That's good. That's what you want to see. So Hypercharge here comes out. Okay, well, 5 second best. Good knowing you, mate. Tyrant here with a jump out, though. This is nice here for Vic Day. They've done enough to take this first round away. As the gas starts to come in, we get to see, again, a good late round performance from Vegeta and OG.
I like the way that both teams, though, are being quite preservative. They're not going in just willy-nilly. They are taking their time and ensuring that they've got the utility to hand to go into these final moments. Second there with the hypercharge, although it didn't necessarily go his way, there was some good attentiveness from ZOOS Esports to get rid of it, really. The Angelo shot that came through was quite pivotal. But, yeah, Vic Day just kind of, I guess for me, they didn't look like the favourites in that last round, honestly.
Yeah, I actually think that Second's Hypercharge Super attracted so much attention from ZOOS. Two players turned their heads to try and blow it up, and that gave Vegeta the opening. I also think, like, you might think Vic Day aren't doing a whole much or looking that strong, but their strategy for the late round is quite powerful as well when you're considering peak, return to sender, and, of course, the Gust Super. That is super potent with a knockback component on it as well. So don't count them out. Even if they like to play slow, they're hoping to charge supers towards the end of the round and put some pressure down. Even like hatchlings in those last moments can be pretty problematic for a composition that is only single shot rolls.
Second getting tapped up on the left-hand side, though. Great jukes from Vegeta and OG, doing a great job on this right-hand side. But yeah, Zemp is really laying in. As the gas comes in as well, it'll be very tough. Gadget from Second and taps from Vegeta. That's really going to open things up massively in the follow-up as well to Tyrant. Lovely from Vegeta. That's going to surely secure the round.
Yeah, I mean, the Eve is insane here, right? The fact that Zemp has to spend one shot shooting at a hatchling and not at Vegeta, who closed the gap, was ready to line up a shot on him, is huge. And second, that's just an incidental part of the fact that Second Best used his jump gadget, right? You get a free hatchling off the back of that. So a couple more shots connected if Second Best will actually have a super that'll be able to make use of.
Vegeta marked up here. Does find Ducky in the mid. And again, Zemp winning this left-hand side lane, and Vegeta's actually going to have to come in here to helping hand it. Gets a hypercharge for his trouble, though, so I'm sure that he will be absolutely okay with that. The gas is going to be not too far away. Marked up again is Vegeta, but these follow-up shots is not really quite landing for Ducky.
Second Best also in a bit more of a commanding position thanks to a couple of shots hit by Vegeta that allowed him to step up towards that bush side, and a reverse polarity that didn't really come close to hitting Second Best. OG doesn't have to do anything, I think, then just hold this position as much as he can. He knows that Tyrant's always going to be able to get out of the map and heal up if he needs to, and
big mess, though.
That's rough. I mean, that mark, in theory, is homing, but when fired at nothing in particular, it is not just going to beeline towards the nearest player. Here's that hypercharge super from Vegeta. Very, very tanky. He is, Lena. Second Best with the jump. Does, of course, have a few hatchlings to help should it be required, but a great set here from Vic Day. Nothing too crazy. Saving some energy, being pretty conservative about their approach. They know it's all about playing for that late round, getting a Gus Super at the ready, and having timely return to centers.
Hochi wearing a FUT Esports jersey, by the way.
Yep.
Just doing the throwback. Vegeta, for me, was the outstanding player in that match. I mean, he really was the rock. Landing shot after shot. Zep was doing some great work on the left-hand side, a bit tarnished by that sort of missed hypercharge towards the end, but honestly, Vegeta, the jukes around the situation as well, time and time again. Nothing was landing on him, and everything that he was shooting was landing, so great stuff.
Yeah, I was also watching him for a solid 10-20 seconds, and he didn't get hit a single time, dodging both incoming shots from two different players at the same time. Really, really good stuff. That must be the girlfriend buff.
Yeah, okay, sure. So far, we have 1 point for the girlfriend buff. Again, and you can see here in these final moments, Vegeta not only is insane movement, but also knows where to collapse that left side lane to either get the elimination or give second best the room to move up and be that much more of a threat. Obviously, Eve doesn't quite have the range. It's more of a projectile speed issue against Bell, especially when you're dealing with like that reverse polarity that can give her artificially more range. But I just, great to see a mid here who knows when to collapse that side lane and help out.
I almost want to say he was too busy spamming the thumbs down emoji other than like getting actually a kill, but that's something he did ever since we've seen second best in the BSC. So I don't think it actually costs him any brain cells.
It's just under the thumbs at this point. It's just a natural reflex that he doesn't even think about. I'm sure that even he to this day doesn't even realize he's still doing it, honestly.
Probably. He's just doing it automatically.
Just automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need a
claw grip just for the emoji. Literally.
Was he like a wild player? Yeah. I reckon he's just moved the button straight under his primary fire, so he can access his pins really easily.
But that would be so unfortunate if he then presses the emoji instead of an actual shot.
That's what we feel like he has done on occasion, or at least that's...
Maybe in this round. Next round is going to be open business. Let's see what they're going to draft here. And if we're going to see a little less thumbs down, probably not.
No,
open business is the map, and it's a map where, once again, you can break open the map completely with roughs, and then you shouldn't pick Barley. It's something we learned.
I just like Nita so much here. I don't know why. I think there are some situations where Nita can be countered. We saw Bobby on the Nita last time in the last game on this map, and like Bruce does so much in terms of creating that space for you. If you've got a brawler that can actually make use of it, then I think it gives you like a really powerful power play for like 5 seconds sometimes at maximum. No ban of Nita, so do expect her to feature in this draft. Finks, though, is windmill slammed here by Vic Day for good reason. Tough to find a better control brawler on these more open hot zone maps.
Yeah, Lou and Finks have been banned out every single time we've seen this map to date so far. So Finks not banned out immediately is gonna get picked up. Lou on the other side banned once more. Ross this time as well. We have many of the top big brawlers out of the way. Chester is one of those brawlers I'm still looking at, and Kenji could show up once more.
Yeah, Ziggy as well could have a good spot here. It's tough with the amount of walls and the placement in the draft to do it. I mean, I don't mind it. It's not really overly played, but I don't mind it. It's okay.
We haven't seen her so long.
Yeah, I mean, Mama J back out to play. Love to see it. For me, yeah, like the Kenji shout. I think that could be an option as well. Stu going to come in as well, like that. Chester's still available here too, by the way. So kind of want to see whether that might be something that could definitely get rid of a lot of these walls. And the Pam turret is going to depend on them. So back over now to Vic Day, see how they want to finalize things out here.
This ZOOS esports comp is all about staying power. You've got two brawlers here who are very good at being hard to shift off the hot zone for very different reasons. For Pam, it's obviously just the durability and innate sustain she has from the healing, and Stu, it's just being quite hard to hit. So you might end up seeing this ZOOS esports comp just wanting to throw themselves at the point as early and as often as possible. Mina, though, is someone who's going to be able to defeat this fairly well because her damage up close is terrifying. So also pretty important because alongside Finks, you've got another brawler who can disrupt projectiles.
Interesting to see that Pierce is completely left open and nobody has picked him up so far. If I was the blue roster here right now, I would have picked Finks, something to open up the map, and the Pierce, and then where does the Pam put her turret? The Stu can't really break open the map himself because Pam wants some walls, so he probably also picks his second gadget there, tries to put a speed turret down. Here's the Jester finally, we talked about him before. He's so good in the current meta and most often banned out because of the DPS he brings. When he finally has that 4-bell shot, it's going to do close to 5k damage, something like that.
Bro's got wall break as well. So, you know, it's a little random in terms of when it comes up, but can be quite powerful. He also has area of effect abilities that can randomly come up, and a hypercharged super that almost feels like it doesn't matter if you run away from the epicenter of it, you're going to get caught by one of the 5 different effects that it has. Ziggy here, of course, thrower, definitely seems wide open. There's no real way for VicDay to threaten it, and it's not possible for things to actually interact meaningfully with the shots that come in from Ziggy because they come from the sky. They're zappy.
Bit of concern for the Ziggy at this stage, though. There's a lot of wall break with that chest of potential. Again, it's kind of like the RNG. If it's in your favor, you get a lot of bombs, then like it's gonna deflate a lot away. But I do prefer kind of what VicDay are running with here, to be honest. I think the PAM could be quite troublesome, though. I think that, you know, if the chest is not able to get those wall breaks in a good amount of time, then the Finks, for me, is the best brawler as well. I'm surprised it's not kind of like more heavily banned and picked up first in this situation. So OG should have some good matchup.
Yeah, these speed zones are going to get max value from Zep. They're not going to be clearable with this composition. And there's obviously those unbreakable walls there where the PAM is that these healing turrets can be placed on. So plenty of space for these deployables to get their full value. So far, though, VicDay has spent more time on the point. Second best is pretty hard to hit with a lot of these shots, but the Ziggy Super is going to clear the way, and Vegeta eventually caught by Ducky on the right.
Second lurking on his left-hand side. Zeb knows it. Dashes back under the helping hand of the PAM healing station. Wimble Gadgets will be able to survive just a little bit longer on this right-hand side, still with the damage gear rolling in now. Zeb considering the possibility of it, and actually gets caught out of guard there as OG takes him down.
Yeah, there's that big super, and still, it's countered out essentially by this Ziggy Super, which moves slower through the Fink zone, which has the effect of working against VicDay. They want that Ziggy Super to pass by as quickly as they can, so they can go back to being on the point and actually make use of the time zone there. So, interesting interaction. Nice little counter pick there, I feel, from ZOOS, but OG is going to have yet another super developed and going to make extensive use of that to turn Ducky into a smear on the ground.
Well, now VicDay just tipping into the zone, getting some good percentage cap for it as well, as ZOOS will start to collect now. Was that 45% mark, some catching up to do. Vegeta has got super as well here, which depending on what he's got in his pocket, could be quite bad. Their pocket gadget as well, keeping everyone inside of VicDay on their toes. Falls now to second best, but look at this. VicDay starting to really capitalise. His Tyrant's too low to contest.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrants can't come forward at all. And VicDay just did a good job of rotating on and off the point. It was often second best using that, you know, his normal shots to rotate in and out. OG has like another, oh my god, it's a hyper super, which is going to shut down that right side of the map entirely. Second best still not able to stay alive long enough, and that Ziggy Super, unfortunately, as good as it is against the Finks, is a little too late.
Yeah, VicDay's starting to really exude their confidence in this series. And we need to see a bit more from ZOOS ESPORTS. This is just getting a little bit scary now. One game away from taking it another set. And to be honest, we haven't really seen enough to warrant a potential comeback either, and that's the thing that's concerning here. Second already immediately onto the zone. Wimble Gadget straight away to allow his teammates to come forward. But OG now gets aggressed quite heavily there. Tyrant will secure the kill. That could be the chance for ZOOS ESPORTS now to get themselves stuck in. Already a very early PAM healing station too.
Yeah, Vegeta has a terrible matchup against the Ziggy on the left side, and that's something that VicDay tried to swap out of, but ZOOS read into immediately. So how do VicDay get this chest back into the game? Naturally, second best has made a lane swap here, as heralded by his Protesto here in coming before you see him. It's going to be VicDay now starting to catch up. Here's that Ziggy Super, and yeah, second best gets fried amidst it. Vegeta trying to come forward, had a healing super, which is quite timely, as Ducky's overextended onto the point now just to try and get some extra capture progress. And the Mina has arrived. Good connection there on towards Ducky. Tyrant also now has to deal with the pinch of the Finks and the Mina while Zemp heals up.
Seconded really well there, getting a lot of percent. Oh my word!
That's nice.
Nice dash forward, gets a great super connection there as well. Very close though. ZOOS ESPORTS are adapting, but is it too little too late? Second still staying alive. Unbelievable, honestly, the tech on this guy, just keeping himself so aggressive, so vulnerable, but staying in the mix. It's ridiculous.
Get him! Somebody get him, please! Thank you. Zemp eventually finishes him off. Clearly didn't have breakthroughs. He's been using Speed Zone in this game, so couldn't quite get to the Mina. And now, as fancy as that looks, ZOOS ESPORTS have managed to get themselves a lead. Here is a hypercharged super from the Ziggy. This is going to come back the way it came, so it's going to be in the game for quite a while, but it's not really in the best spot. It's been mostly avoided by VicDay, and OG's been able to stay alive, but fired some shots when he might have been better off healing. So we have a cycle in to get another Ziggy Super, and this should be ZOOS Esports now running away with the remainder of the round.
Leading towards 95% for ZOOS Esports, but there's still a chance for VIC to have a last say here as Vegeta has an opportunity, can't find it. Then on the zone, should be enough time here realistically.
Oh, not the super!
He's duck realistic. He's got to get on the zone, he does. That is a big sigh of relief for him because that was getting a little bit hairy towards the end.
Not only does the Ziggy have a really good matchup against the Chester, but if you're able to cycle those supers reliably, you're basically denying the middle of the map for extensive periods of time. The hypercharged super from the Ziggy was less than convincing. It didn't bounce back in the best direction, but still, it was enough to give ZOOS the extra mileage they needed to take the round out. Remember, they were leading early on. We need to see OG on his Sphinx, I feel like, get more involved. Second best involved, stay alive, but we need to see more offense rather than defense.
Second again, going on the aggressive, finding Tyrant. Then getting the pinch off there as well in a crucial moment in time. It's now the start to pressure OG. Back to the finisher gadget, away off the zone, and that's exactly what ZOOS Esports need here. They need to assert themselves. Oh, great there from Ducky. Vegeta will fall. And it's everyone from ZOOS Esports on the zone.
Yeah, they're feeding Ducky these supers. Once again, it's tough to dodge them. You notice that OG is trying to, but it gets almost nuked down entirely. Still, VIC able to cycle onto the point for a time, but as soon as ZOOS decide that they want to clear them off in numbers, they do. Now OG doesn't really have anywhere to be. Vegeta struggling in these second couple of rounds now. Second best has to try and navigate the outer ring of that Ziggy Super. Still gets rolled over by Zep, who's able to benefit from the healing turret that is basically unkillable because there are no throwers on Vic Day's comp.
Super down. Oh, but Vegeta falls there as well to Zem, but that's great from him. He can continue the aggression, gets behind second here in the pinch. Saved by the windmill. However, charge for Zem. He wants blood going for the right-hand side. Gets the pinch again with Tyrant. As Ducky just clears some space in this bottom left-hand side. ZOOS are starting to really find themselves here.
Yeah, not great for Vic Day at all. ZOOS are going to find themselves with a comfortable lead now as that super from the Ziggy stayed in the game for far too long. Second best needs a pretty insane run of eliminations here, and that is beautiful. Great catch here with those tornadoes. Still, Ziggy Super has to be contended with now, and all ZOOS need to do is throw themselves at the point for a short time, and this will be done and dusted. Vegeta's Super had to be used there. Windwall Gadget will buy a little bit of time for second best, but still he has to dance as the lightning zaps at his toes. And here's Zep to step up to get that extra percentage. And we're done and dusted here for Hot Zone.
No time like the present for ZOOS Esports there. Very nicely done because I did love the comp. The Vic they were running, it just had a lot of utility, and you know, how often do you realistically see a fixed comp go down like that? It's not common, and again with a Pam, really interesting stuff from ZOOS, bit avant-garde in that regard. But you know, second, I think will still play out of his mind, just not enough to get it done.
At the beginning, I also felt like, oh, why Pam? We haven't seen her in such a long time. And then as soon as the game started, I was reminded of why. She's so good in supports. She and Emma are probably the best two counters to him, because whenever you have that ult available, hypercharge, you see the Pam can still just cover the entire ult spray, and with that the Finks has nowhere to stand in, even in his own ult. So really good draft here from the side of ZOOS. Yeah,
no safe zone whatsoever. Again, I want to repeat, the interaction of the Ziggy Super into the Finks Super does not favor the Finks team at all, because that lightning storm moves so slowly, and it starts moving slowly in the relevant area, which is on the point. So it really does feel like a hard counter pick, and like ZOOS were more than happy to see that insta-pick of the Finks. They had so much time and room to play around it. I do think that Vic Day painted themselves into a corner with that first pick.
Regardless of all that, though, at the beginning it really looked like Vic Day had it nailed down, and they were on the way to getting a 2-0 in this match and the lead. What happened? Why did ZOOS Esports find a way to turn things around?
I think when you got a Pam, you got a lot of survivability, and I think that a lot of this objective play evolves around being on your feet. I mean, second was clearing up some great space, but I think Zeb was doing a really good side lane against him actually on that Stu pick, and just keeping that aggression going and rolling in. And yeah, just OG not really able to do too much in that mid. I think that it was just better chemistry, better communication from ZOOS Esports clearly. So yeah, giving themselves a bit of a sigh of relief, but this one's far from over.
They also made sure that Vegeta had to play into the Ziggy. A horrific matchup for, the Chester, and a team that doesn't have any throwers to answer. So I really do think that ZOOS had comp from start to finish.
Yeah, Vic Day looked really, really good also because of second best. He played that Mina so well, barely ever went down. And then in game 2 and 3, I feel like they brought him under control a lot better, focused on him a lot more. Now we're heading into Bounty, and now we know that we are going to see a set 4, so I'm already very pleased that this is not going to be as over as quickly as the previous one. Reddy gets a bit of a longer break than you, Ark.
Fine, he needs it in old age, doesn't he? Yeah.
I do not like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, Layer Cake, of course, you know, we've seen this map played out a couple of times over the last couple of days, and not a whole lot has changed, right? With these global bans in effect, though, it will change the calculus a little bit. We've seen teams chance to bring throwers in here, but in general, having those assassins is important. Kaze's open here. Obviously, someone that can give you that blue star advantage straight off the rip, and I expect it to be hotly contested here.
Good plans all around, I feel. Still
Mom
some
never misses.
options. Bell going to be the first pick coming in for Vic Day. Could be an alley map for me here as well. Definitely RT. Could be options here.
Yeah. The drafting so far for Vic Day doesn't feel like it's super data-driven. Maybe just more around comfort. Obviously, Bella's amazing on bounty maps, right? Especially if you find that you have the lead at some point in the round. But yeah, with Kaze so glaringly open, I think it'll be a disservice. ZOOS will be doing themselves not to take it, and Pierce will join her.
I'm on the same page here. I pointed you towards Kaze and I was like, oh, she's wide open. Of course you're going to pick her up to pick up the blue star, and with that you gain a huge lead in a bounty set. And on the left-hand side, we don't pick up Kaze. Pierce also left open, and arguably the better sniper over Bell. So they must have something in mind, and we talked about it earlier. Sometimes comfort picks are better than meta picks, but so far I really like ZOOS esports comp.
Ash is a wild card pick for me, for sure.
This is spicy, man.
Definitely wild.
Comfort picks.
This is so OG coded, man. That's crazy. Okay, so obviously, you know, a potent brawler who, you know, can benefit with speed boost from taking damage. It's just someone who wants to get up in your face. The little helpers are good against brawlers that cannot cleave.
Not sure whether I'm a big fan of it, honestly, but it's going to require some serious support coming through here. It's kind of why they picked the Bell. They just really want to keep that Ash alive as much as humanly possible, but some control wouldn't be the worst of ideas in the world. Some throwers. Juju has a good map on this side of things, and certainly the Gree can be a big problem for brawlers like Ash, so they might want to pair it, take it off the cards from the side of ZOOS esports. Definitely, it's a risky pick. I haven't seen it played out in Layer Cake for such a long time, honestly.
Can we like go into a Gene here? You do have reasonably good damage. I also think the threat of the magic hand to give you space to lay those nest eggs down could be fairly potent. Having a little bit of healing against this poke damage that's going to be fairly persistent. Lamp blowout against the Kaze could also be a reasonable option there as well. Like I said, it's a little bit hard to predict these Vic Day drafts. They're also going up against Pierce, who got picked in direct response to the Bell. I think it's one of the most hotly contested sharpshooters at the moment. And the Juju point is interesting because she has been prolific on this map, but if SA aren't picking her right now, then is anybody else going to do it?
She can't be great, right? I still think it's a good shout. Take came to my mind as well. I feel like he's a bit stronger at the moment than Juju. But yeah, throwers overall, just if picked, then as last picks, because we have so many assassins that are so good in the game right now that has recently received the buffy. On the left-hand side, we now have a super interesting draft with that Bell and Ash so far. I do think some heal would go a long way alongside that Ash, so I do like your shout with Gene. Maybe also just a Byron, just like a simple old Byron Ash comp like 2024.
Byron's fine. You can play wind up Squeak here if you want to. Kit, I think is I don't think Kit was banned, right? You can go there.
I don't think so actually. Kit would be a good shout.
It's not too. I mean, we've seen it on Layer Cake already this evening, right? So you can make use of that. Also, that hypercharge is really strong. But it doesn't really answer like the sustain issue, right? You might need something to back up that Ash a little bit more. Ash does have a gadget, obviously, that lets them convert range into healing, which is fine, but it's not super reliable if you're facing down consistent sources of damage. Now, Kaze is going to be annoying as well with that Fan Storm, constantly throwing that in. The hypercharged version, of course, is very large. So definitely a bunch of different directions. In the meat pool, we discussed that, really?
It's potential, definitely potential. Going to reset the draft, though. Had a bit of a disconnect to fill, so we'll find out just a moment how the players are reconnecting back into that. you know, if it is still the Ash, because I'm still kind of reeling off the back of it as to whether it's. But if it is correct and it is going to go through and they're going to pick it again, then I feel like it's going to have to be something on the defensive lines for ZOOS Esports to really counteract it. Because once Ash is in your face, and maybe even with some like support from healing side of things, you know, potentially firewalls, it could be really problematic. And the robotic rats as well, you know, that's going to lean into having something which can have good area splash. I think, you know, brawlers like Ziggy, you know, going to struggle in that regard. So it's quite an interesting brawler pick. It's such a bold one at the same time.
Ziggy would have been so sick here, but I think it was banned out by VIC Day. Obviously, he's just sort of ubiquitous on this map. Ali on Layer Cake? Any Ali?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody dares to pick up a thrower, Ali would certainly be a good answer to that. I want to talk a bit more about the overall fact that we now have global brawler bans here in the March monthly finals. We have the brawlers Bull, BB constantly banned out today. Glowy also didn't have a lot of showings. Do you two feel like overall that's healthy for the BSC?
Look, I think last year we had 6 bans last year, no global bans, right? And the consensus was that we didn't have enough bans to account for all of the problematically powerful brawlers in the game. That was, you know, back then there were, we were 89 to 100 brawlers or something like that, right? Last year. Now we've got 10 bans in total, which is 10% of the roster, but it does feel like that's enough to account for the overtuned brawlers and also allow you to ban a little bit more specifically for the situation, the map, or maybe what you yourself just don't want to go up against. So feels fine. It does feel like some teams with more restrictive brawler pools can get forced to the bottom of the barrel a little bit earlier, but I do think having a deep brawler pool is part of the skill set of champions that you want to develop here in the BSC. So I'm not all that sympathetic of teams that might tend to that complaint.
I really like it so far. I think we need some more bans. Now, going from 6 up to 10 might be a bit drastic, but we're going to get more and more brawlers, so I think 10 is quite nice. Was it Lumi that was 100% banned out at Worlds at one point?
Was it Worlds? Or was it LC? Yeah, Brawl Cup, I feel like it was when we
had an entire LAN tournament where we didn't see a brawler a single time, so having a global ban there would have probably been pretty good.
She had like 9600 HP though at the time, which was quite absurd. She was
the good old times.
Yeah, ridiculously tanky and also
even Uber won some games. Huh?
Sorry, that's crazy.
When he plays,
I said okay. I'm getting it. I just don't do Mega Pig. Guys, don't invite me to your club if you need people to do Mega Pig. I will sit in your club and just get my games done, get my battle passes done, play some rank. I'm not doing any Mega Pig. Don't message me about it, okay?
But yeah, that's very true that now that with the new Prestige, even you have been seen playing some leather, and I'm sure you're going to get your first Prestige very, very soon.
What is this? This is crazy, bro. Let's talk about this graphic that very conveniently was put on the screen at just this very moment. Obviously, this is the East Asia's sort of ban, so they very immediately went after what they felt were the more problematic. Notice the 3 global kit bans there, though. I should tell you everything you need to know about how this brawler can take over the game. MEA, for me, are very, very reasonable. They often target the sort of the strongest brawler or some of the newest ones that come through. Obviously, with Sirius not available, Naja not available to be picked here. Glowy would be the biggest offender. Mortis with 4 bans aimed at him, though, is pretty spicy.
And I do want to point out what was super interesting to me. EMEA had Glowy banned out in the global bans every single round, and then we had East Asia to ban him out in the regular bans every single round. So it kind of was the same picture, but in different ban phases. We're back in the draft now. We are right before that Ash pick, so we're going to see if that was actually intended. No, that was a random pick. The player wasn't able to pick anything, so they're going to go with that Ellie instead. And we actually have mentioned her. Super good in case that right-hand side would decide to pick up a thrower. But ZOOS Esports has the last pick. I would not go with a thrower now into Ellie.
I don't hate that this pressures sharpshooters as well. I think like the last thing Pierce wants to deal with is someone running up on them. So I like that. Meatball, of course, can kind of contain this Kaze if she looks to try and come forward, set up a catch opportunity for Ali to potentially, even if there's grass in the vicinity, leap over the wall and sort of dive on the person caught in there. So a few directions you can take this, but Layer Cake is characterized by a lot of those walls. So being able to render them virtually non-existent for your team is going to be important.
Final pick then for ZOOS Esports. I do like how VIC they are approaching this one. Ali, there's such a good brawler to have. Ooh,
What year is this, bro?
oh.
What year is this,
I mean, it
dude?
makes a lot of sense. I mean, Ali has to jump on top of your head, literally. So Hank is going to be kind of like not the worst of ideas, but it's going to be very defensive. You know, not really able to make some big plays. It's going to be primarily down to the Kaze, and then you can support her with those pushes. So it might seem a bit wild. I'm open to it. I'm just got to wait to see how it plays itself out here realistically. It's definitely interesting, I would say.
Okay, so it is a Hank against the zero thrower comp, which is pretty decent. Hank can be a little bit threatening if he, gets up against those walls with those big bubbles and will force opponents away. It's very curious, though. I like this from ZOOS. I was accusing VIC of not being data-driven drafters, but this one is a little off the wall here. Zemp's able to make some space by stepping up onto the safe side of this indestructible wall, and VIC are going to have to play it slow to start.
Here we go with Zemp on the right-hand side, trying to get some early value, but again, we're in the bush with that big bubble. Not really hiding that much. Now in a good spot, though. Just taking his time, waiting for his teammates to come through the mid. Very passive early start, which is only going to really lend more over to the Bell here to be able to lay down some nest eggs. Now, Vegeta has something to say. Nice. Gets a nice early takedown. Yeah,
look, I mean, they're playing Boomer Brawlstars right now, I'm not going to lie, but that worked out beautifully. They have Blue Star. No need to get aggressive. At some point, the Hank is really going to struggle against the Meeple when that super is active. So Ducky might need to try something a little bit different. We see a lane swap here now. Zemp comes to the left side, but there's a diagonal here that makes it awfully easy for Vegeta and OG to tap him down.
Zemp again, trying to enforce things, but he really needs the helping hand. There's not enough aggression coming from ZOOS currently at the moment. They're waiting for like a kind of final push, which could very much go against them. With OG having the mark and Ali get to really go the aggressive. And when she does, she can pack a punch. Ducky now going to be seeing second through that wall and that information be relayed over. But at the moment, ZOOS are behind and it's just not looking good.
Hey, Fish Torpedo for Zemp to get some help, but it doesn't do anything about the mark on them, so eventually Vegeta's able to step up and find the elimination. It feels to me like ZOOS don't actually know how they ought to proceed here. The Pierce is getting no value, doing almost no damage. Tyrant has nothing to do, and now second best decides to go in, sees that low health target. It's an easy pick up. There was already another mark at the ready for the Hank. Ochi, though, blinded up by the fan storm. It's a really nice little adjustment for Ducky, but now, yep. Well, that wall is rendered permeable to all shots, and so VIC get themselves up to 12 to 15 stars at the end of the round. Listen, it's not high-octane Brawlstars, but it is...
To say the least.
It is pretty cerebral, though. Like, get the blue star, sit back, and then wait for overextensions. Yeah, VIC aren't trying to, I don't know, win any huge fans amongst the Zoomer fan base. They're just trying to play solid Brawlstars.
Yeah, very kind of hard to call the match, honestly. I mean, just very passive, very slow. And it's ZOOS that need to push more than it is on the side of VIC. I mean, they haven't won the blue star this time around. That could make a big difference. Yeah. Last little second. So let's see now how VIC approaches, which I imagine they're going to be more aggressive in their approach. And,
I hope so.
Yeah, you can't really play this that way. You do have to make some moves.
Ducky, fast enough this time to snatch that blue star away. That's going to be important. VIC have tools to be aggressive. And like I mentioned, if they get that map control, they can then just litter the area with nest eggs and make it really hard for ZOOS to get back into the game if they lose the lead. Zemp caught on a diagonal, a little uncomfortable positioning here for the Hank, so need to shift back towards mid. Still, second best almost able to get that full elimination. That makes the Hank very low, and he's going to find another way in. Of course, he can traverse waterways as Ali. Not quite able to get close enough for the finish, but VIC are in a comfortable position on the map, even if not in terms of score.
Well, Vegeta now has super. There's only one star in it, no kills or deaths just yet, but big taps to the Torrent here, and the Gadget as well will stand out. Ducky and Zemp. Now Second comes in and gets some massive value before getting taken down. ZOOS still have a 2-star lead here. There's 50 seconds left, plenty of time for a response to bring things back into order. Vegeta's the playmaker realistically there, but Second as well can go the aggressive. If he's not able to time it correctly, it's going to go from bad to worse.
Zemp has been really hard to finish off. Once again, I think they're in that fight with about 400 health back in that right-hand corner. This time Vegeta has hypercharge, so he can obviously get much closer, play from inside these walls, and these shots are virtually impossible to dodge. Blue Star difference, though, still matters, but second best goes in, gets Zemp, it's traded out. So despite all of this smoke and mirrors, all this bluff and bluster, ZOOS Esports still have the lead. I think we've realized now just how important that Blue Star advantage is. 12 seconds left in the round. VIC have to make the play.
Hypercharge for OG. Second, we're flanking this right-hand side. We'll be careful to flank these shots. Oh, great gadget, huge. The second just immediately annihilated. Now OG trying to get some taps. I don't think there's enough time for it either. ZOOS even pick one up for themselves at the end. That's better, much better, but you can see how much this is leaning on having that Blue Star for ZOOS. If they don't get it off the bat, they don't seem to know what to do with themselves. That's the problem here. So it really is so dependent on that getting off the mark early.
There is a plan for VIC if they're behind in stars, but it requires them, honestly, getting the Hank. That seems to be the primary target, as they often take the most poke damage and are like a low health opportunity for second best. Now, another Blue Star picked up by ZOOS. I think they also realize how important that is in terms of their win condition. And all these Meeple Supers, no kills off of them. Zemp doing a great job at staying alive with that gadget, and also fish torpedoes.
Second going in, couldn't find the connection here, but there's some low HP and some marks as well.
They're in trouble, man.
Yeah.
That's going to bounce them down.
One, second going to come in. Silent Falls. This is much, much better now. VIC can just come back. This is where they want to play from realistically here, so getting that early lead, crucial. OG can just get a mark as well if he wants to take it off the Hank, but I think probably just best leave it. Use a hypercharge, get some value and some big heavy shots, and continue that lead.
Ducky saw an opportunity to take second best down after he dived in, but we just saw how powerful the Bell is here, and why she's still sometimes preferable to that Pierce. Everybody was so close together, grouped up, had nowhere to go on the map, and so those bouncing shots were guaranteed to find important eliminations. Now, though, we're back in this position where ZOOS Esports have offense. Zemp's going to get tapped down pretty heavily. It also marked up Vegeta. Oh, rage quit gadget there, just in case there was any risk of him giving the Blue Star over. If they get Vegeta, it's going to be ZOOS Esports in the lead. But they have to protect the Meeple, and Tyron's able to find that elimination. Now the response, though, from second best, it's fine, but still a Blue Star lead. The Hank has got to go, and OG knows it. Zemp is marked up here, trying to stay safe, and he knows he's one and done in that corner.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't come back there. Maybe he just felt like it wasn't really viable to do so. VIC still going to be in the lead here at 2 stars. Let's see, realistically, they can find anyone. Just one single kill towards the end. Ducky, got to be careful. Second there. Has got a fan storm. A lot of nest eggs, and that's the problem here for ZOOS. Now, they can't really push into this very easily. Going to be very cautious. Here's the fan storm. It's go time.
Okay, I like this hypercharge from Vegeta, though. Lets him play outside of the fan storm. That's masterful. He wraps around to that 9 o'clock position, is able to get that damage down. Nice finish for VIC there. Slow and steady, wins the race, tortoising themselves across the line.
Nice turnaround towards the end, honestly, for VIC. Getting that really, really early takedowns in the way they did, and coming back. I mean, you know, didn't then have to be pinned upon that that Blue Star, really. And I think for ZOOS, they were really just kind of banking on it being in their favor the whole time and just playing defense. As soon as they went on offense, their comp just did not work.
I want to address the elephant in the room. How do you feel like the Hank ended up forming its part of ZOOS's composition?
I don't think it was too bad. I think it kind of made a lot of sense on defense, but it's the Bell, the nest eggs. I mean, when they're littering the map, when the Hank is marked up, pushing into that, one stun, you're a goner.
And I think the Hank was exactly the problem here. They really needed him to push a lot. Whenever they grouped up, the Bell just had so much value. So whenever they actually had the lead, they got the Blue Star with the Kaze. They just lost it immediately because they were too grouped up. And Zemp with a Hank can't really do too much even against an Ellie. She's just going to jump onto him. The Bell was super, super strong into that roster that wanted to play all in the same spot. By the way, chat's got me. It was Charlie who was banned out at Worlds 2023 100% of the time, and Lumi was banned out 96% of the time at Brawl Cup 2020, I think 3 as well, where we had yeah, she was only picked up 4 times in total. Right. So chat's got my back. I'm very happy. We have
Vegeta.
Was
considered so busted. I think, wasn't her projectile speed just super high? I can't remember now. Why was she so aggressive?
Yes, her projectile speed was quicker and the range was actually shorter, which is super interesting.
But it was like bam, 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 bam. Yeah.
You can really spam it.
A lot of the time.
Chuba, you know.
We actually had the Meeple there with the most kills.
Okay, I mean, I thought the Meeple was fantastic here, like especially in those final moments. There's a fan storm like thrown at you, which could be like really problematic. But there's a hypercharged super that lets you wrap around and play inside the blocks, get kills, and not get punished for it. The Meeple was sick. The alley was fine. You know, we kind of called out every one of those potential brawlers here. So good job on the draft, everyone. We had an idea of where that was going to go. Double swoosh though up next.
Double Swoosh is a map with a lot of bushes. Usually we see a lot of Sandy here, Janet as the two gem carriers of choice. And on the lanes, we have seen literally every single iteration of what you can play here today so far. Ems was picked up very often. She's actually banned out here.
There it is. Otis is no surprise to see this brawler pop up. Fat Splatter really good for zone control. Played on the left-hand side of the map. And obviously, the Mute Gadget is just something you really can't afford to go without. A hypercharged version stuns as well, so it gives you stopping power against potential tanks, of which there aren't too many that are available to be picked here. I want to point out that EE is open, but not a great pick into this Otis.
Yeah, Ali's also open. I wonder whether the Otis is going to deter the ideal. I mean, for VIC Day, they could just pick it up and combine it, honestly. Definitely second best is going to be fantastic on it. Stanley coming through. Haven't seen that brawler for quite some time here today, which I quite like for them. But Lily, I mean, it's open here. Could be definitely one of those brawlers that can get in the back lines and cause some mischief. I like it for that reason. Stu banned out, so no Stu mid then in that case. But Squeak's a brawler which sometimes Vic Day will bring in. It's kind of a wild one. Buster as well can have some good value on this map too.
We see Sandy for the first time here because he was banned out every single time before. These two teams actually super interesting so far in their draft because they leave open a couple of those brawlers that we haven't seen at all yet today because they're just too strong to leave open. And both of them decide to, leave those brawlers open, pick them up instead. Otis is one of these brawlers as well. Left-hand side now, how do they react to the Lily? What do you think?
She is pretty terrifying. Obviously, there are other brawlers that you can draft with stopping power. You also just have to take your mid here at some point, and Janet is, a good candidate for that. To reveal those bushes potentially. If you make use of the boombox gadget. Okay, Trunk is going to be the answer instead. I mean, someone who can sort of push up in the middle part of the map and generate a lot of pressure. Mobility that's lent by the super. It feels like a very classic Vic Day pick at this point.
Definitely not one that I had on my horizons. I don't mind I love the brawler's mechanics. I think Trunk, we don't really kind of see enough, so I'm quite excited to see how they can make this work. And it's kind of taking the reins of what Jackie used to bring to this kind of draft now. Surge coming through as well. Definitely seen a bit of a rise in Surge, specifically this weekend actually, which is kind of interesting to see as well on this map.
Yeah, we haven't seen Surge, I think, in East Asia and EMEA even once, so that's a refreshing sight. Trunk also a brawler we haven't seen too often. He's obviously quite good into the Lily. Is it going to be enough though? I'm really waiting for that last pick now. We, on the right-hand side, already have our gem carrier, and that's Sandy, technically. Could still pick up Janet either way. She's pretty good regardless. On the left-hand side, I also wonder who's going to play mid. Probably either the Otis or the Surge. Gale is going to come in here, and that's just very targeted towards that Trunk.
Yeah, I feel like Otis mid is probably the go-to. The Fat Splatter on the other side of the boxes is pretty annoying. The other mid doesn't really have a lot of room, especially someone like Ducky, who is, if they're going to be the mid here, is quite short-ranged. And will, of course, struggle to go head-to-head. But there's, decent stopping power here between the Gale and the Sweet Dreams gadget of the Sandy. You've got to be pretty careful about the Trunk in terms of how you want to come forward. Surge is just, he just vomits damage. It's definitely a very powerful tank killer with that invulnerability frame that can be used in response to the attempt from Lily to engage. So keep your eyes on that one. These Lily gadgets will be important.
Yeah, OG as well. Going to have to work overtime here. And it's going to be a really tough one for him to get around this Gale now. So far, so good for Vic Day in terms of gems. But it's going to be chaotic. Honestly, you can see the way that ZOOS are already starting to move around this, and it's down to Vic Day to keep a track on everything. Ducky making a little pass on this left-hand side, and they're finding some good value at the back of that as well.
I respect that Ducky definitely trying to be aggressive here, but kind of outmatched against these two, effective longer-range brawlers. OG meets his end towards the top part of the map, and didn't end up creating any space for second best Vegeta in there because they were scared of one Gale.
Well, now second. And Vegeta pushed down. OG the healthier of the squad. Ducky twisted there as well. Great stun as well. Nothing Vegeta can do. Gems dropped. down with second. And it's all a little bit sketchy, honestly, for Big Day, but so far the gems are split, but that's a massive play. Oh my goodness, OG literally comes back with all the goods.
How the heck did second best survive that? OG, that was beautifully done. He went deep and has a hypercharged super ready to make use of here. Darky, the most aggressive Gale I think I've ever seen outside of one Kenny casts, and I don't think it's going to be enough here for ZOOS Esports. Here's OG yet again, hypercharge as he trails those ants behind him. Nice looks for VIC Day. I think it's success that's paved with second best aggression early on in the round, and OG going all in on that trunk.
Yeah, that was the biggest play, really. Until then, I wasn't overly convinced on Vic Day and just felt like the Gale was really quite punishing and putting them into that back spawn area. It was just enough for the gems that they had, but then adding to it from OG was the big moment, really. This is what I'm saying about the trunk. It's like a kind of a wild card kind of brawler pick, but if you can make plays like that, then it's absolutely got a place.
Here's your Lily gadget. Plenty of damage waiting for Zemp as he emerges. Second best and OG deal with him handily. Nice work by Vegeta. Has a ton of handy things that can be dodged away from, you know, with that vulnerability frame on his super. And obviously it is an ability he has access to very frequently. Big damage there. Zemp again flattened. OG is running away with the game. This trunk gameplay is inspirational.
Yeah, missed super there as well from Zemp. Not going to be great for him. Got to be cycling in more for that early side to bring back some goods, really. 6 gems already. ZOOS Esports not really having much of a showing here. Zemp into the realm, OG goes in, plus 3 of Ducky will secure it, but the gems dropped. Zemp's low HP and second easily going to be able to defend it.
Best part is second best is a very reasonable backup gem carrier here. This allows Vegeta maybe to be that much more aggressive. Second best has that super on hand if he gets accosted by the Lily, and OG dives in. That is nice. Ducky is handled, or rather handles it. Tyrant is out of the game for now. And the Gale probably feeling pretty uncomfortable, outranged by both the remaining brawlers on Vic Day. They are 9 gems, and that is 10. Vegeta gets in there with the super, gets on out, and OG just says, I'm going to throw myself in front of my opponents here. Zemp, though, able to go in. Nice hypercharged super to get that singular gem, but not forcing second to part with his horde.
OG, oh my god, tried to get some disgusting value, but got knocked back there. But it's a massive moment there to stop that countdown from Zemp. Now, I think they still only need 1 gem. Good positioning power here from ZOOS Esports. OG on the right-hand side looking to make a play, then shunned down again by Ducky. Now 200 HP now taken care of. Vegeta waiting for this gem to spawn, not really in a favourable spot. The next one might be, and Ducky knows it coming in. That Gale will twist the potentially for this mid to be able to deter it.
Okay, OG's got to make something happen here. Stunned up, though, by the gadget of Tyrant. And ZOOS at 8 gems. This is now getting pretty close. Tyrant with that hypercharged super, big speed boost to everyone inside of it. OG's got nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Tyrant's got to go. That's the first piece of the puzzle. He's stunned up, muted down, but will eventually be removed. Once again, Vegeta's back in the game. He just picks up that 1 gem that he needs. However, needs that second one as well, and that's the problem. Zemp going forward, 6 gems on him. He knows he's got to go aggressive. OG is able to get some gems dropped as well. Second best of Vegeta back away. Will be another gem spawning in these moments. It should just be in time to stop this countdown from being completed. 1 second away from defeat. ZOOS, hang on.
Perfect awareness there from ZOOS. Got about 7 seconds on the clock to be able to get that gem spawn. They knew it and were able to spread themselves out just to ensure it. Now they've got the lead in terms of gem count, but getting that one is so important, but can they get back out again?
Stun.
Lovely stun, but OG low can't really go in here as well.
Big
Great
stun.
stun as well. Vegeta low HP though. OG coming in for a massive play that goes down, and I don't know whether Victor can get this now.
Nicely done by ZOOS Esports. That is gems that are tantalizingly close, but outside of Vegeta's grasp. They'll step forward, and second best is going to try and get close as well, but ZOOS Esports' patience has paid. They were 1 second away from losing the entire series, but now they've tied us up on gem grab.
Yeah, that's really quite incredible from ZOOS to have that ability to stay so composed. The question is, can they continue it forwards? Can they just survive this set? And it really is that, just continuing to survive at this point. Very much calculated, I must say. And they got the rewards of it, but it's not over by a long shot realistically here. The match point still stays standing for Vic Day, and it could be over in this next game.
Zemp and Tyrant doubled up on the right-hand side to start with. Vegeta's have been able to get in, get those 2 gems away. No one tests the gadget of Vegeta, so he won't get that free healer. OG backs up. Zemp is the cat amongst the pigeons here, and the damage of Tyrant is such a timely arrival by the Sandy, but not enough. OG is able to survive there, albeit with 1 gem to his name. Another gadget drawn out of the Sandy, and OG wants that elimination. He gets it. Now inside the root sands, he'll have enough time to get out, and that's a Sandy super that doesn't do a whole lot to further the game plan of ZOOS.
second. Got the mute now. OG trying to find Tyrant here, but only really ending up feeding him. Towards the Sandstorm. OG will find the wall as well, but stunned back again from Ducky. Zem coming back with some gems. Massive moment here for ZOOS Esports. They've got 8 now, 2 more spawning in. Good Sandstorm from Tyrant. Full awareness now, 9. 1 more spawning in. This is 10. And ZOOS Esports running back.
They're chilling. I mean, 30 seconds left in the round. Vegeta's not going to get past Tyrant. No chance. Hypercharge is there for OG, but does he have the health? Maybe slightly premature on that super from Gale, but OG can't get close enough. He knows that he's likely to fall here. One more hit. There it is. Second best gets him back behind them. Okay, 6 gems to their name. Now Vic Day can back away. Vegeta nice and healthy. Good gadget use there as well to soak up that kit. This game still is on.
Oh, Zem, be very careful, my friend. Going into that trunk with 5 gems. 6 to 8. A bit of a fumble from ZOOS, no doubt about it. Big huge hypercharge there from second. The gem dropped Zep. Going to be going to pick it up. But either way, this one from the mid's crucial now. And it's all Vic Day. This is disastrous. ZOOS Esports had this game in the bag. They've blown it unless they can reset this countdown.
Second best to run interference. It doesn't quite connect the mute onto Tyrant, but Tyrant is low. Ducky, hypercharge super there. Vegeta's able to dodge it, but the damage is enough. Zep's able to get back in. There's a gadget to get away. He is pulling off the grandest heist, but OG's still sitting on 10 gems. He wants to make sure that Zep can't pick up anymore. He'll have to back away. OG barely alive, steps out. 9 gems here for ZOOS. Second best steps up. Surely an opportunity, and yes, they've reset the countdown once more. This game is still afoot.
That was absolutely ridiculous. Zep is not taking this lying down, but they still need this gem from the mid here, otherwise it'll go to Vic Day. Tyrant knows he gets a stun, gets the gem most importantly. OG goes in, stunned out, gems spilled all over the map. ZOOS Esports should be able to just about win this. That was ridiculous.
We are far from done here in this last of our quarterfinals. ZOOS have got to be feeling good. That's OG with food. He's been eating good up until this point, but for now it looks like, yeah, that squad is going to have to wait a little bit longer for their just desserts. Vic Day were on the precipice of victory there. But ZOOS turn up when it matters. That is some high-flying, high-octane Brawlstars, and I couldn't be happier. We're headed to a final set.
That was ridiculous indeed. What a match for ZOOS, absolutely throwing. And then all of a sudden, Zem with the robbery of the century, getting those gems back into their own spawn. We had so many countdowns in this match, so many stopped countdowns. Yeah, I mean, you were saying ZOOS Esports, they're chilling. They still have a Sandstorm, you know, they're just back in spawn, and OG comes in, clutches up. I really want to see those moments again.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many countdowns. It was second best, I think, that managed to get the gems loose in that last set. That was a real game changer. I think Lily is just so good here. You see Zemp here was able to dive deep and sort of start to get that lead going for ZOOS Esports. This is, look at the second best at the top of the screen. Bam. Just able to tap Ducky with that last shot. OG went in. They got out with 6 gems there. And OG overextended into a stun. The Gale ended up being such a big difference maker in these clutch moments. And Vegeta didn't quite time his super enough to dodge away from Zep. There was a hypercharged super from the Lily, though. I think the Lily is just such a big part of this game plan.
I mean, they prevented 2 match points in that set. We're now going all the way to the 5th. If Vic Day don't secure this set, or maybe, you know, we even see ZOOS Esports defend even more match points, that's going to be really quite disastrous. They're going to look back on this and think that they really missed a trick. OG did not, though, on 14 takedowns on that trunk. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Zemp as well, 13 kills on the Lily. The match was really played out between those 2 makers, and yeah, really great to see a brawler like Trunk getting as much of a showing as that.
I don't think the takedowns are was interesting on this stat. It was 44 gems on that Lily. It was really just them getting the gems out of their opponent's spawn. They didn't really pick them up when they actually came out of the mine. That was such a back and forth, super, super nice. And with a clutch set like this one, we now landed in set 5, and we finally go all the way here in an A.
Yeah, we made it to pinhole punt. Shake it off. Honestly, this series started pretty slow. I would say glacial pace. Now, though, after the end of Gem Grab, I'm feeling hyped up and I'm excited to see the conclusion of this series. Only one of these teams can advance to take on Oni Realm in that next match, and it could be OG once again going up against his old teammates. Again, the Unks are thick here in this lower bracket, and OG's trying to make his way there once more. This team, of course, has a lot to prove. They've made those changes, but so far, they're looking pretty darn good here. What is the draft plan going to be? It's an M's straight off the rip here for Pinhole Hunt. She's impressive. Gale, of course, very good at keeping opponents at arm's length, and Ruff's picked up for utility and support.
Ruffs is huge. Honestly, the hypercharge cycling then. Some really dangerous ideas. Mortis is open here. I wouldn't mind to see it at all, especially with the M's on their side of the field. Could be a good time to bring something like that in. Definitely the heavy hitters like the BBs and the balls all banned out here for good reasons, so I quite feel like that's necessary. But Charlie could be a good counter potentially here. Maybe a bit overkill. There's still some... Yeah, I love it. Love it. Matching now with the Charlie, you got yourselves a really nice comp, to be completely honest, because that's one of the brawlers that can be shut down. Mortis can dash the cocoon, of course, but like more often than not, it could be a good defensive maneuvering.
Okay, so where is your damage supposed to originate from? Leon is global banned here. I don't think you're going to pick Meeple into this. Do you have a gap close to actually put some pressure down? You need someone with decent damage. We've seen Mina match up against Mortis at times. I don't know if that really is where you want to find yourself. You have a brawler here. Okay, so you have a brawler here in the Ruffs that really can sort of set up those hypercharges, but now you're also dealing with the Pierce's threat of outranging 2 out of 3 of your brawlers. This, I think, puts Vic Day in a bit of an uncomfortable spot.
Really like the Pierce there to round off the right-hand side comp. They have some range, they have the M's if the opponent still decides to go for something aggressive. And of course that Mortis is going to wreak havoc so far. Yes, Gale, kind of good matchup here with the Twister gadget. Also, whenever he has a super available, of course. But they're still missing something. And I don't know if Stewie's going to be that something that they're missing here. Not the most DPS, usually struggles a bit against the Mortis, but at least he has mobility. They can open up the map. Stu's pretty good in doing just that, Ruffs as well. And on this open map, yes, Pierce is going to have a favorable matchup, but they might just be able to control that Mortis, which probably is the biggest problem here in the ZOOS esports side comp.
So you have the Gale at least to try and force the Mortis back. Gale is horrific into Pierce, naturally. You have some gap close in the Stu to go after the Pierce. I feel like ZOOS have a pretty strong comp. By the way, don't count out the damage that Ruffs can do, by the way. He does hit pretty hard, but Zep's not going to give him much of a chance to do that. OG is going to be peppered down, and oh man, this comp looks really scary from ZOOS esports. I wanted to kind of give the benefit of the doubt to Vic Day, but that's not a good start.
Yeah, really not a good start at all. And it's super aggressive. I think the Pierce as well is opening up a lot of space. And Zeb is just absolutely going in, punishing everything he possibly can, bouncing off the Twister there as well, past the Tyrant. And as quickly as that, that's a match point earned in 33 seconds. Let that sink in. Coming off the back of Gem Grab, it was basically done and dusted, and Vic Day were about to walk away with all the goods. We went back and forth, and now we're here, 2 match points denied. And now it's Vic Day that are looking at a match against the match point themselves.
You don't have an excuse at this point. Vic Day are a very experienced team of players. To make such a draft error as this, at this level, it's inexcusable. They are getting absolutely pounded. It is virtually over. OG's going to fall here. Second best can't really stop this at all. So Ducky's going to walk it in, and ZOOS esports are 1 goal away from advancing to the semi-final.
Vic Day have fought so hard to get to this point, and it's getting stopped. They're getting walked over, ball pushed through. 3 versus 2.
Tragic.
Zep to the right-hand side, but it doesn't even need to be there because Tyrant will score it. What have we just witnessed? Vic Day absolutely blew this. It went all the way to the 5th, and it was just so convincing. This is ridiculous.
What a disaster. It's an utter capitulation. You know, you have 4 sets of really competitive Brawlstars. We just saw OG throw it back with some fantastic trunk gameplay. And yeah, they pulled up a little bit short on Jeb Grab here, but this was a despicable capitulation in the final set. Completely out-comped. The confidence with which they locked in this Ruffs and Gale